Well. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Zane, August the 11th, 2024. This is the 291st edition of Speaking of Zane. We're coming up on the 300th. Wow, amazing. Amazing. 9 more. We'll be at 3,000, 9 weeks. But good to have you all in here tonight for Speaking of Zane, Sunday night. The most important thing of the day is a happy birthday, and that is to Lori. Lori celebrates today her 60th birthday. Holy smoke. I think I met her when she was 18, and now she is 60. How about that? So happy birthday to Lori. You saw the birthday cake. Here, let me see. There you go. You see the nice birthday cake there, commemorating the 60th anniversary of her birth. And it's been an eventful one. We had our little tornado, Carson Sky, last night. She's 4 years old. And she always gives us a run for our money. And she was up late and up early. And Lori has been sick. And unfortunately, Lori spent the better part of today at the emergency room. Yeah. But she's home now and says she's feeling better. She's got some appointment to see her doctor later this week, I guess. But we'll see how things go. But anyway, that has been her birthday. Now, Hannah, our oldest daughter, Hannah, and Everett came by, and they brought a cake, another cake. She got 2 cakes. They brought a cake and some gifts, and gave her a hearty happy birthday. But unfortunately, Lori's birthday was probably not what she had hoped it would be, but she is, as usual, makes the best of it. And another anniversary in order, Roy and Jamie Cupper celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary this past week. I didn't realize, Lori, that they were just, 6 months behind us, 5 or 6 months behind us. I didn't know that. But happy anniversary to Roy and Jamie. They live out in Las Vegas. And they took a helicopter ride. Wow, what a fantastic thing. They took a helicopter ride from the airport there in Las Vegas and across the strip. Very familiar territory for me because I go there for tech conferences all the time. They took off out of McCarran and they went straight toward Mandalay Bay, took a right, Luxor, Mandalay Bay, Luxor, Excalibur, New York, MGM Grand, right on down the strip. But I know they went farther. They went out to the Grand Canyon. They went to past the Hoover Dam and all that stuff. So seems fun. Well, let's see. Let's see who's in here. First of all, Daryl's in here, of course. Hey, Daryl. And Lori's in here. Brenda Lusk from Michigan's in here. Hey, Brenda. Brenda, we may get to meet you face to face in 2026 because we're going to be in Michigan. The Running to Honor 5K, which is held there in the Downriver. I think that's language you guys understand in Michigan. Every July. Well, in 2026, the Running to Honor 5K is going to honor our son, Zane. And we're going to be there for it. So we'll get to see the errands. We'll get to see Aaron Bartle. We'll get to see maybe Brenda. We'll get to see you. We'll get to see Nosley. So many people we've never met face to face that we'll get to see when we're in Michigan. Let's see who else is in here. Ken's in here. Hey Ken, how you doing, buddy? My Aunt Mary's in there. Hey Aunt Mary, how you doing? Aunt Mary, that looked like a fantastic funeral for, I think it was a Fitzgerald native. And was he buried in Sylvester, I believe, but that he had the honor guard and all of that. Let's see who else we've got here. Awesome. Okay, Brenda will be there. Good. We'll see you. Good. You get to meet my dad too. My dad's turning 80 in October. So he'll be 80. Let's see. He'll be 80. He'll be 80 next July. He'll be 81. So he'll be 81, coming up on 82, and he's going to do the run. He'll walk it, but he is as healthy as a horse. I'll tell you, knock on wood. And he is planning to go all the way to Michigan and do that. Do the running to honor 5K. Okay, well, let's see. So we got the birthday wishes for Lori. We got the 40th anniversary for Roy and Jamie. And we do have kind of another anniversary of sorts for those of us that were friends and colleagues with Todd Vanderwerken. It was August the 4th of 2019. What is that, Lori? I guess that's 5 years now, right? 5 years ago, Lori and I were driving from our home here in Ackworth, and we were driving to the Braves game at Truist Park. Actually, it was called SunTrust Park at the time, down in Marietta. And about halfway there, I got the call from Todd's wife, Julie, that he had passed. And he had battled throat cancer for some time, and got the call. It was sad. I mean, he and I first met in 1982 at Keesler Air Force Base, went through tech school together, went to Offutt Air Force Base together, flew together. When I came back from overseas, we flew together. We got out together. We went to work at First Data Corporation together. We left there. We both went to work at Cisco Systems. Then eventually we both made our way. Well, actually, after First Data, we went to work at a local integrator there in Omaha, MSI. So we worked at the Air Force, we worked at First Data, we worked at MSI, we worked at Cisco, and then we ended up working at the company that I work for now, Worldwide Technology, and I was able to refer him and get him on board. And then he got throat cancer, and but you talk about lifelong friends, you talk about people that you met when you were 18, and he was just a fantastic guy, Todd, and we both shared a love for baseball. He was a diehard Cardinals fan. I was a Braves fan. I remember in 1982 they were battling for the NL. Yeah, just a great guy. And when Lori and I were driving to the ball game, it was a weekend. It was Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember which, but we were on our way to the game, and I got the call from Julie, and she had told me that he had passed. And I told Lori, and Lori said, "Well, do you want to turn around and go home?" And I said, "No," because Todd would say, "Go to the ball game," and he would say, "Go to the ball game." And so we went to the ball game, and it wasn't the same. It was heavy on my heart, but he would. he would certainly want me to go to the ball game, and then just very quickly in a couple of weeks' time, we were together at his funeral, and I was able to speak at his funeral, and see his kids. And at the time, he had one little grandkid. Now he has two, and then I stayed in touch with his son Tyler um, periodically, and who's a big baseball player. But anyway, what a fantastic guy that he was. And we lost him 5 years ago this month. It just seems crazy. Well, there's my dad, Mac Marine. Let me tell you something about my dad. My dad's going to be 80 years old in October. And you could put me and him side by side, and you wouldn't know which one's the younger. He's just and the most incredible hard worker that I've ever known. And he's re-siding the house right now. After all the work he's done on the house, he's siding it right now and out in the Georgia heat. But anyway, he's a strong man, has a strong back and a strong heart, and I love him. Well, let's see. What else do we got here? Speaking of running to honor, I did the running to honor with some of my teammates in the London office. I talked about it last week. And you remember I talked about shipping all of the gear. I had shirts for everybody. I had race bibs for everybody. I had medals for everybody, thanks to Aaron. And, and I was lamenting last week in retrospect that I should have just taken all of that in a bag with me, and I didn't. I shipped it. Well, I didn't do the customs form right or something, and they thought it was a commercial transaction. And so they wanted duty tax on it. And I finally, after three different calls over the last 3 weeks, I finally got somebody who could tell me what the holdup was, because it's sitting in the UPS warehouse in London. I finally got somebody who could tell me, oh, well, what's the value of all the stuff? And I'm like, well, it wasn't a commercial transaction. I was given it. Nobody bought it from me. I was given it, Anyway, they wanted money, tax. I'm like, we fought a freaking war over this. Anyway, so I paid it. And now I'm hoping this week that my package finally gets delivered to the office there, and all the folks that did the 5K with me can get their race kit and everything. But anyway, what a story. But that's the way it goes. All right. Well, let's see. It's been hard to keep up with my Braves because they're not on TV anymore. I can't watch them on TV. Oh, God, so frustrating. I listen on the radio, but we got so many new players, and I'm so out of touch. All I know is they've sucking at the moment. They're 8 games out of first, in third place, which is crazy. But they lost today. But anyway, I'm rooting for them. I hope they do better, and I got to figure out how to watch them. I'm about ready to. I am not about ready. I'm going to get rid of my Comcast because I don't watch anything. That was the only thing I really watched on cable. But Dad says they made a dude. Well, maybe they did. I don't know. I'm just so out of touch, maybe. But I'll check and see. Lori's been up all night. She's going to crash, it looks like. Plus, she had Carson down there with her. Okay, well, let's see. This week, on Hat of the Week. The Hat of the Week always has something to do with what the heck is going on around here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. And I'm wearing probably the oldest ball cap in my inventory, and I'm at a couple hundred ball caps. Now, I've had some probably older than this along the way that I've either lost or whatever, but Lori has nailed it. It is a dual hat of the week, and one is for Lori and her birthday. And this one of the earliest photos of Lori and I together. I think she was 18, I was maybe 19 or 20. We were standing out in the parking lot, and we were both in our uniforms. And I was avionics maintenance squadron, she was field maintenance squadron, and we both had these hats on. This hat's 40 some years old, 1981. Anyway, and of course, Todd was in the 55th Avionics Maintenance Squadron as well. So now this hat, I can tell because my eyes are starting to water. I think it's got some mildew. This hat has been through the ringer over the last 40 plus years in sheds and garages and basements. And anyway, this is the 55th Avionics Maintenance Squadron hat. Daryl, do you remember this one? I'm sure you do. But I still have it. How about that? And that is this week's Hat of the Week. All right. Well, let's see. How about this week in military history? I did have some items come across this week where he says, wash it. I'm afraid to wash it. I'm afraid it'll fall apart. But anyway. So August 6th, 1945, we dropped the first atomic bomb called Little Boy on Hiroshima. 3 days later, August the 9th, 1945, we dropped Fat Man on Nagasaki. And that effectively ended the war, and Japan would surrender, obviously. And, double-edged sword, I guess. I mean, saved probably hundreds of thousands of lives. I mean, it cost hundreds of thousands of Japanese lives, but probably saved hundreds of thousands ultimately on both sides. But then it got us in an arms race, right? And here we are, always toe-to-toe with the nuclear forces. But and then fast forward to July 20th. I missed this last week. I should have had this last week. July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon. How about that? Anybody remember that? I do remember as a kid, I was 6 years old. I remember we were watching that at somebody's house. I don't remember. In Alabama, I believe. But did you know that we have two astronauts that launched on a Boeing spacecraft to the International Space Station? They got there and now they're stuck. It was only supposed to be an 8-day mission, and these two astronauts are still on the ISS. I don't know how long it's been now, a couple of months. But Boeing has had some trouble with their Starliner, I think they call it. So these astronauts, it was like, I hope they didn't have any plans, because it was supposed to be an 8-day mission, and they are still there. And here's the deal. They have a contingency. If Boeing can't get their act together and get that thing, it's just something with the thrusters and the software for the thrusters and stuff, but they're already talking to Elon Musk's organization about getting a ride home, but not till February. So thank you, Ken. Ken's like, June, they were supposed to turn around and come back in a week, and now they may be there until February 2025 when they can hitch a ride back. But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I wish them all the best for sure, and I hope Boeing gets those issues sorted out. Also, August the 7th was Purple Heart Day. I don't know how long we've had that. I think it's kind of cool that we have a day that we recognize that. My dad is a Purple Heart recipient, and he'll tell you that he didn't want to be one. He ended up taking a North Vietnamese Army rocket to the face, and he makes light of it now. He says some people thought he was just that ugly to begin with, and he blames it on the Vietnamese and the rocket. But yeah, we're lucky that Dad wasn't killed, for sure. And I think Dad still has some metal somewhere from his neck up. There's pieces of metal floating around. I know for years he had little pieces of shrapnel that would come out of his face and stuff. And anyway, just a fascinating story. But Purple Heart Day. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Veteran Cemetery Challenge. So I know that, well, hey, Matt, Aaron, how you doing, buddy? I know that Daryl made a visit to Jefferson Barracks and saw his wife, Wanda. And Daryl has an interesting ministry, I guess you could call it, where anybody in Jefferson Barracks that he's aware of that has a birthday, he tries to visit them on his birthday. And he did so this week with our mutual friend Amanda Duggar's mother, who had a birthday this past week. She's buried there with her husband at Jefferson Barracks. And of course, my dad and my sister visit my mom regularly at Evergreen there in Fitzgerald. And then I had 2 visits today, so I didn't even plan these 2 visits. Now I had to take Lori to the emergency room I mentioned, and we left the house maybe at 8 o'clock this morning. And I absolutely hate hospitals, emergency rooms, sick people. So I dumped her out. I mean, I dropped her off, and I drove around for a little bit, had some coffee, went back, parked, went inside for a little bit, saw all kind of sick people, left again, and then eventually came back and picked her up. But in the meantime, I took her to Kennestone Hospital, which is in Kennesaw, not far from Marietta. And there happens to be a national cemetery called Marietta National Cemetery. And I drove right past it. I went inside and made a visit today to Marietta National Cemetery. They're out of room there. It's downtown Marietta. They don't have any more capacity, but they do celebrate their Reach Across America and Memorial Day. And I've been there a couple times for each of those. And anyway, I made a visit there today. And then when I left there, I drove all the way up to Canton and visited Zane at Georgia National. So I got the 2 national cemeteries in Georgia, both visited today. So if I add that up, that means we had 7 visits over the week, and we're at 1,243 visits since we started tracking. So appreciate you guys doing it. It's a beautiful day today in Georgia. We were just touching 90, 89, and not really that humid, and so it was nice out at the cemetery. And of course, the elevation is a little bit higher there, so it's always a little bit cooler, a couple of degrees cooler. Well, how about our Thank a Vet challenge? You guys put in the chat there if you had any thank yous this week that I don't already know about. I know my Aunt Paula had she was able to thank a 101-year-old World War II veteran. Now, if a World War II veteran is still alive, they're about 100 years old at this stage. If you think about it, right, it was 80 years, and if they were 80, if they were 17, they would have been 80, 97. So I guess they could be 97, 98 That would be the youngest that you might find, maybe 96 if they lied to get in, which a lot of them did. But Aunt Paula met a 101-year-old World War II vet and 3 Pasco County Sheriff's deputies. And then I had a Marine. I met a brand new guy at our company who wanted to, he just reached out to me and wanted to talk about, the company and everything. And his name is Tim. And then also thanked 2 Army veterans at work this week. So that was 3 for me. And then Steve Shirley says on Friday, 2 groups of Vietnam vets from Lincoln visited the new Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial. How about that? I wasn't able to meet with the morning group, but had the pleasure of meeting and thanking 27 in the afternoon. Well, how about that? Well, good on you there, Steve-O. I know that's just around the corner from your house, isn't it? What is it? Just a few miles, Steve, from your place? So I'm going to add 27 to our list. So 27. That would be 34. 27 plus 7 is 34, right? So 27. Oh, goodness. So 27, if we add, let's see, we're at 2,880. We're going to add 27. Yeah, we're getting up there. So let me 15.7. Okay, let me tell you how the math works out. Oh, it's less than a mile, Steve. Okay, so you can walk there. Awesome. All right, so if I add Steve's there, 34 thank yous for the week. That gives us 2,907 thank yous since we started tracking these things. We are getting close there, Ken, to 3,000. How about that? We are less than 100 away. We're 93 thank yous away from hitting 3,000. How about that? That's incredible. So no doubt we'll do that by the end of the year for sure. Well, thank you, Steve, for sharing that. That seems like an awesome. Well, I can't wait to get back up there. In fact, I think a bunch of the PAX troops are talking about getting together September 13th, 14th, something like that. So I don't know if it works out. I may fly up there for that weekend, September 13th, 14th, and maybe get a chance to see it. We'll let you know. Okay. Well, let's see. On the organization front, so I mentioned Running to Honor, what's going on there. Let's see. The Georgia Run for the Fallen, which I've talked about in years past, is coming up in October. Zane is on that list as well. So more about that as we get closer to that. That's the Georgia Run for the Fallen. And then let's see. Something else there. Oh, My Warrior's Place. I talked to Kelly this week. They had another hurricane come through. Man, it scares the dickens out of me when they have a hurricane come through Tampa, because the My Warrior's Place, Ruskin, is right on a river. But I reached out to her and she says everything was okay. I'm like, thank goodness. But remember last one that came through, we ended up mobilizing and going down there and helping clean up a little bit, as did a lot of other orgs. But anyway, so everything seems to be okay at My Warrior's Place. That's good news. Oh, let's see. Okay, well, we did have in the Lost or Wounded segment of the program here, we had some U.S. personnel wounded in Iraq. Yeah, we sure did. From some drone strikes or something. You don't. It's hard to get details out of the media on anything like that. They don't want you to know anything like that's going on. But there's some things going on, and Iran obviously is behind a lot of it. But we've had some U.S. personnel wounded over there over this last week, and then we had an unfortunate incident down at Fort Rucker, Alabama, which is really the home of where soldiers learn to fly helicopters. And we lost an Apache helicopter. The student pilot survived, but the instructor pilot, who was a retired chief warrant officer, unfortunately did not survive. And that was Chief Warrant Officer 3, Daniel Munger. And he was late 40s, did 20 years in the Army as a helicopter pilot, and was working for a contractor that the Army contracts some of their training to. So just a terrible, terrible thing down there. Okay, well, I think that is about it, folks. I sure do appreciate you guys showing up on Lori's birthday, 60. Can you believe she is 60 years old? I am married to an old woman, but that's the way it goes. But I look forward to seeing you all again next week. I'm not traveling. I'm home. I've got a lot of work to do, but I'm doing it from home. I don't have any travel until maybe not next weekend, but the next. I'm going down to Florida. Hey, JT, how you doing, buddy? Going down to celebrate a friend of mine's book signing, book release. A young lady called Sherry, who wrote a book. She's invited me. So I'm going to run down there for that. And then I do have some trips in October to St. Louis, and then we'll see what happens after that. But for the next couple of weeks, I'm at home, which is good. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday night for Speaking of Zane. If you see a veteran throughout the week, either at work or at play, tell them thanks. They deserve it. Strike up a conversation, and then tell us all about it. And if you happen to visit a national cemetery or a cemetery where a veteran is buried, let us know about that as well. Those are hallowed places for sure. They are. But good to see you all tonight. Thank you all, as always, for stopping in and listening to me bloviate. And we'll look forward to doing it again next Sunday night on Speaking of Zane. See you then.